The Williams Formula One team, a name that once echoed through paddocks and podiums across the world, might finally be stirring from its long slumber. In a sport that thrives on legacy as much as innovation, few names carry the weight that Williams does. And after years lost in the midfield abyss, are we now witnessing the beginning of a bold return to the top? Founded in 1978 by the late great Sir Frank Williams, the team is the third longest serving outfit in Formula One history, and for good reason. With 9 Constructors' Championships and 7 Drivers' titles, Williams once stood toe-to-toe with Ferrari and McLaren. Their 1990s dominance, from Nigel Mansell's iconic 1992 campaign to Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve's back-to-back titles, wrote chapters of F1 history that fans still relive to this day. But then, it all fell apart. But without any further ado, let's take a more detailed look. By the end of the 2010s, Williams was no longer a top team, but rather a grid filler, a shadow of its glorious past, languishing at the back while others raced for glory. The downfall wasn't sudden, it was death by 1,000 cuts. Poor decisions, tighter budgets, loss of key personnel, and a changing F1 landscape that no longer favoured the independent giants of old. And now, in 2025, that giant may be waking up. Enter James Vowles, the man now tasked with reversing 2 decades of decline. Appointed in 2023 as team principal, the former Mercedes strategies guru made it immediately clear: this isn't about patching up the cracks. This is about tearing it down and rebuilding it from the ground up. Vowles has frequently emphasized the long-term nature of this project. He wasn't lured to Williams by nostalgia, he came for the challenge, for the belief that this sleeping beast can be reawakened. And while some may be surprised to see him land Carlos Sainz for 2025, Vowles is adamant that signing the Spaniard is just one step out of 1,000. Because make no mistake, this isn't a fairy tale return, it's a war, and Williams is just sharpening its weapons. Looking back, it's hard not to feel the emotional weight of Williams' past. From Alan Jones' 1980 title to the tear-filled scenes as Damon Hill won in 1996, this team once personified dominance. And let's not forget the technical marvel that was the FW14B, perhaps the greatest car in F1 history, with its active suspension system and futuristic tech that left rivals stunned. Nigel Mansell destroyed the field that year, securing his first title in spectacular fashion. But that era ended, and it ended hard. The exit of Renault after 1997 began a freefall. That was the last time they won a title. Renault, their engine partner, pulled the plug right after. They'd done what they came to do and bowed out at the top, but that left Williams scrambling, stuck with customer engines, rebadged Renault under the name Mecha Chrome, which, let's be honest, didn't quite have the same punch. At the same time, Adrian Newey, the mastermind behind many of their best cars, left for McLaren. Oh, and just to make things worse, title sponsor Rothmans bailed too, after their parent company bought Tyrrell, soon to become Bar. Losing your engine partner, design genius, and major sponsor all at once? That's a death sentence in F1 terms. From there, it was tough going. Ferrari and McLaren Mercedes took over at the front, and Williams was left chasing shadows. There was a flicker of hope in the early 2000s when BMW came on board. The engine was great, the partnership showed promise, but the chemistry just wasn't there. BMW wanted more control, a tighter setup like McLaren Mercedes, but Williams weren't willing to give that up. Public tensions flared, and eventually BMW packed their bags and took over Sauber instead. Since then, it's been a grind. F1 budgets soared, and Williams couldn't keep up. They bounced around engine suppliers until finally landing with Mercedes power units, a solid choice, and it did bring them back to the midfield now and then. But as the engine formula matured and aero became king again, their weaknesses started showing hard. In 2020, the Williams family stepped away and sold the team to Dorilton Capital, handing over the reins after over 4 decades. James Vowles came in as team principal in 2023, and he started to lay the groundwork for a long rebuild. There's hope, there's vision, but the glory days of the 80s and 90s, They're a long way off. The arrival of Vowles in 2023 marked the true reboot. He's not interested in short-term podiums or PR stunts. The message is simple: this will take years, and the focus is already on 2026, when new technical regulations could shuffle the deck dramatically. And in 2025, don't expect miracles, but do expect progress. Vowles himself has said it. 2025 is an exciting year, not because they'll suddenly be winning races, but because the groundwork laid now will determine their future. Williams isn't interested in fighting tooth and nail for 7th in the Constructors. They're building toward winning again, but in 2028. This season, the team has taken the radical decision to fully switch focus to the 2026 car, known internally as the FW48. While rivals like Aston Martin and Alpine continue to push updates in season, Williams has shut off development of its current car. No new wind tunnel time, no major upgrades. They're sacrificing today for a better tomorrow. It's a bold move, and one that could cost them in the ultra-tight midfield fight. But for Vowles and Dorilton Capital, it's a price worth paying. In the garage, Williams have now assembled a fascinating driver pairing. Alex Albon, the quietly brilliant Thai British racer, has proven time and again that he can overdrive machinery. His performances in 2023 and 2024 were nothing short of heroic. At the heart of this transformation is the FW47, widely considered the most competitive package Williams has fielded in recent memory. Its balance, raw pace, and consistency have made it a formidable challenger in the ever-intensifying midfield. At the recent Miami Grand Prix, the car delivered another standout performance, coming within just 3/10 of pole position. It was a result that not only raised eyebrows but also fueled internal discussions about the true potential of the current package. Carlos Sainz, who joined Williams at the start of the season, qualified in 6th position, narrowly ahead of teammate Alex Albon. In the race, it was Albon who ultimately crossed the line in 5th, with Sainz finishing 9th after a controversial team orders call. The Spaniard was visibly frustrated post-race, lamenting that a miscommunication had left him looking completely stupid as he relinquished position under unclear instructions. Despite the internal tension in Miami, Sainz has remained steadfast in his belief in the Williams project. His vast experience, particularly as a race winner with Ferrari, gives him a unique lens through which to evaluate the FW47's strengths, and more importantly, its untapped potential. He believes the car can be elevated even further if given the appropriate developmental attention. However, team principal James Vowles has chosen a different path, one rooted in strategic patience. Rather than divert resources into further upgrades for the FW47, Vowles has prioritized development of the FW48, the team's challenger for the sweeping regulation changes set to arrive in 2026. It's a long-term gamble, and one that not all drivers would welcome, particularly when tantalizing short-term gains appear within reach. Sainz admitted some frustration at the decision, especially after the car's strong showing in qualifying. Speaking to the media, he reflected on what could have been. "When I see those 3/10 to the top, my will to develop this car is there, because I perfectly know where this car can be improved," he said. "The moment you put it in the wind tunnel and try to target the 2 or 3 areas that I've been telling the team about, there's clearly a lot more potential. If the team manages to give me that, I think we could take a very big step forward in quality." Yet, despite those urges, Sainz respects the path Williams has chosen. "The plan is the plan," he added. "We're not going to do that. We're going to focus on next year and put all the eggs in the basket. Obviously, that potential I see, especially only in my 6th race, to be 3/10 off pole is encouraging, but we will need to keep it calm." Miami was another milestone in the team's progress, with both drivers bringing home points once again. Consistent double points finishes have become a new benchmark for Williams, a sign of both reliability and competitiveness, and a far cry from the team's struggles just 2 seasons ago. For Sainz, that consistency has served as reassurance that his decision to join Williams was the right one. While the temptation to push for immediate gains remains, he's aligned himself with Vowles' long-range strategy. "I've told him," I said, "how much can we do? how much CFD, how much wind tunnel, but I like James because he's a man with a very clear plan, and he will commit 100% to it. He trusts his feeling, his plan, his project, and I back him. It's a rare combination of realism and ambition. Sainz's trust in Vowles and in the Williams organization is rooted not in short-term hype, but in a shared vision for the future. That's why I'm committed to James as an individual, but also to Williams as a team, he said. I see a project with very clear ambition, very clear targets, and we need to commit to them and stick to them. The early signs are already validating that trust. He also promised me this year's car would be an improvement to last year, and so far, he's been a man of his word. I'm glad that's going in the right direction. That mentality could be the turning point, because while speed is measured in tenths, progress is measured in mindset. Skeptics will say we've seen this movie before, brief resurgences followed by heartbreak, and to some extent, they'd be right. But something feels different this time. For one, the financial backing is solid. Dorilton have proven they're willing to invest, not blindly, but patiently. They've upgraded facilities, committed to a new wind tunnel, and backed Vowles' 5-year plan without hesitation. Secondly, Vowles is not a figurehead. He's a man who helped architect Mercedes' dominance. He understands modern F1, the politics, the logistics, and the demands. He's not here for a quick fix. And finally, the team has stopped chasing short-term gains. This is the first time in 2 decades that Williams seems to be thinking years ahead instead of months. That could make all the difference. As Vowles bluntly put it, if you want to win, there's only one way to win, and you can't get caught in the now. That's what's been wrong for the last 20 years. It was all short-termism. And he's right. Champions don't build overnight, they build over time, with pain, with patience. It's still too early to say. F1 is ruthless. The margin between success and failure is razor thin, and while 2026 offers a reset, it's also an unknown battlefield. Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, they're not going anywhere. But Williams isn't here to make up the numbers anymore. With the right leadership, the right drivers, and a clear path forward, there's every chance that the story of Williams is far from over. The final question is simple. Can this team that once ruled the sport rise again, or will history continue to haunt them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.